This is Arsenal Podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, the hottest topic on the internet right now is, are Arsenal title contenders? After listening and reviewing all the information out there, TalkSport, Sky Sports, United fans, Chelsea fans, Tottenham Hotspur fans, and everyone, we need to talk about this. We need to react to this because what is very interesting is the notion and the suggestion that Arsenal are title contenders is not coming from Arsenal fans. It's actually coming from rival fans. It's coming from elsewhere. Thomas Frank, the manager at Brentford, strongly saying that in that statement in two of his most recent interviews before he played Arsenal and even after playing Arsenal. He said, Arsenal, for me, are title contenders. So that is the big question in the comment section. We do have a poll. Make sure you're voting for your team. Do you think Arsenal will win the Premier League? We have three options: yes, no, and then just top four. Because I think realistically, we talked about what our season expectations should be, what Arsenal should be thinking about this season, and we decided it should be top four. But now the big question is, after winning six out of 7, can we go ahead to win the Premier League? Forget about the unbeaten run. That is gone. Manchester United have actually done us a favor of just taking away that pressure of unbeaten. So the pressure now is, can we stay on top of the league? And even if we don't stay on top of the league, do we have the resilience to come down from the table? Probably, lose to Tottenham, lose to Liverpool, or draw against Liverpool and Tottenham. You come down from position 1, but then win the next couple of games and go back, because that is all about. That is what the league is all about. It's a marathon. It's not knockout football. We have to win every game, or you have to edge every game slightly. You can afford to draw, within a title, within a league championship. You can afford to lose games as long as you have the resilience to bounce back. So question number 1, are Arsenal legit title contenders? And that is what I'm going to be talking about in this video for the start. Are we legit title contenders, or is there some kind of big hype around this club? Now, I was so surprised by Thomas Frank, because he's a manager of a London side, Brentford, and he's also a manager of a club that I think, when they look at themselves, they'll be thinking, we can get 6 points or 5 points or 3 points against Arsenal this campaign. But the manager strongly coming out and showing his love for this Arsenal project, and he says Arsenal are title contenders for me. Aside from Manchester City, there is no other better side in the Premier League other than Arsenal. That was really surprising. And then Thomas Frank's comments after the Brentford Arsenal game, when we beat them 3-0, again, he reiterated the same message. Like I said, we've lost to one of the best teams in the Premier League, if not the best team in the Premier League currently, and they are title challenges. Going on to speak about the likes of Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka, and William Saliba. With William Saliba, Thomas Frank went on to say, he's going to be a full France international. That is remarkable. That is quite remarkable. But Thomas Frank is not the only person who's come out and said Arsenal are title challenges. Arsene Wenger as well, in his recent interview, he was asked whether Arsenal can win the title, and he said, the goal for Arsenal this season should be finishing in the top 4. That should be our ultimate goal. Then after that, after making sure that we have nailed in, the top 4, we think about winning the title. And that, look, in that interview says, I think it was with, it was quoted by Sky Sports, and he says, Arsenal should not be written off. They're both well. The project they have is very good, and they do not have a weak department in their team. That is Arsene Wenger. Of course, we know he's a quality manager. He's a legend at Arsenal and legend in the game as well. So those are two legit sources claiming Arsenal can win the title. So the question now is, are Arsenal legit title contenders? Look, my answer is gonna be straightforward, and we're gonna try to back it up. But in the comment section, I'm going to take a lot of criticism. I'm going to take a lot of support from you people in the comment section, and I'm going to take a lot of your opinions. This is about you. I want Arsenal fans to react to whether we are legit title contenders. My answer is no, and these are my reasons. Right. So I thought about reflecting on our season so far. 7 games in, there is nothing to reflect on apart from the new signings. If you told me to reflect on the new signings, I will do a show about that. We have a lot of time without football. I'm going to be talking about who is the best signing at Arsenal so far in a later video, probably tomorrow, probably the day after that. But when we get into the conversation of the title, the marathon, I don't think Arsenal are legit title contenders. Now, everyone is a title contender because we begin with 0 points, and we begin with a 25-man squad, and that's why Leicester City had the chance to win the Premier League title. No one expected them to win it, and everyone is going to say, look, they invested what? By the time they won the Premier League title, they had not invested that much. The likes of Daniel Drinkwater, who eventually didn't even have a footballing career. Yes, they had N'Golo Conte, Riyad Mahrez, and Jamie Vardy. But Jamie Vardy, honestly, you cannot, if you're a football player and you're young, I don't think you're looking at Jamie Vardy and you want to have a career as is, right? So Leicester won it, and that shows you that in football, anything can happen. But the dominance of Manchester City in the previous years only shows you that football has since changed a lot from we can easily win it, we can steal it, to we've invested, we have organized, we have planned, and we are literally going to win it. So titles these days are kind of both. I think I should say that. And I don't really mean buying in terms of money, but of course, also in terms of money. Look at the biggest spenders in every country are walking away with the league. Bayern in Germany, Barcelona and Madrid in Spain, then PSG in the French league. Juventus have done it consecutively for something like 7 years, 8 years in the Italian Serie A, because they've been the highest spenders. So the title, the league title, is so hard to steal these days. It is very, very hard. I cannot imagine a world where Brentford win the title. I can't imagine a world where Brighton win the title. I can't imagine a world where which other club? Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa. I can no longer imagine and envision a world where those clubs win the Premier League title. And this is the reason. When you look at the minimum number of points required for you to win a Premier League title these days, it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely mind-blowing. You must have 90 plus points to win the Premier League title. Can you believe that? If you go back and rewatch and revisit all seasons where an underdog has won the title, it is because all these other big clubs are not actually doing well, and the underdogs get around 80, 83 points and they win the title. That is no longer happening. That is no longer happening in football. What is happening right now is we are sitting in a world where the top 4 is already defined, the top 7 is also defined, the top 10 is well defined by how much have you spent, the quality of the manager you have, and the amount of players and the quality in your squad. So it is easy to sit here and predict who is going to be in the relegation battle, and they will definitely be, apart from Leicester City. No one of us expected them to be there, and they're quite a surprise. But again, Leicester are kind of a symbol. They symbolize the situation in which football is right now. You don't spend money for 1 year, for 1 single year. You don't refresh your squad for just 1 year, and you're facing relegation. Arsenal have been there. Man United have been there. Chelsea have been there, right? Massively falling off the top 4. Liverpool have been there for decades until the last 6 years when they brought in Klopp and everything, kind of went well and he started the ship. So that is the reason why I think Arsenal are not legit title contenders, and another reason why I think Spurs are not legit title contenders. Now, both of us have really spent a lot of money in the previous window, and that kind of, tells pundits that we are title contenders. I just don't get it. I just don't get it why people think Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, Fabio Vieira, and William Saliba make us title contenders. It's more to that. The same as Spurs. Spurs have brought in over 9 signings, 10 signings with Destin Udogie in on loan in the Italian Serie A. For me, they are non-title contenders because they improved their squad big time. They didn't improve their starting 11. Look at that midfield. We'll review Spurs in the next 7 days when we play them. And literally, they don't have any creativity in that midfield. Rodrigo Bentancur is not a scare for me. And Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is not a scare for me. So they didn't improve their starting 11, but they improved their squad, and also not massively. So for me, the only legit title contenders this season are Manchester City. And I'm going to compare Manchester City to Arsenal. This is unfair because this Arsenal project and squad is only 2.5 years old. Actually, you can't even say our project is 13 months old, because that is when you really get the kind of grasp. That is when you feel Arsenal started their rebuild. When we chased the likes of Kolasinac, the likes of Mustafi, the likes of Papastopoulos, that period, and we decided we are going to do something different and something more enjoyable and something with a plan. That is 1 year and 1 month, 13 months ago. So, but of course, if we're being put into the conversation as title challengers, as title contenders, then we must compare ourselves to Manchester City. So let's start off with the starting 11, because that literally wins you every game, right? That is the core. That is the foundation for you to winning games. The goalkeepers, I think both of them are quite overrated, in my opinion. Ramsdale and Ederson. Ederson is not a top-class goalkeeper, just like thought. He's playing in a very good Manchester City squad. Ramsdale is failing to save 53% of the balls directed to him since April till now. And you know which other goalkeeper is doing poorly? It's Ederson. So I don't trade both goalkeepers, but they're there because they have very good footballing ability. So that's all right. That's all right. They can be there. I mean, many clubs have the same situation with their goalkeepers. At right back, they have Kyle Walker. We have Ben White. Huge difference in terms of talent, in terms of natural ability at right back, in terms of experience, in terms of pedigree, in everything for me. Kyle Walker, even defensively, we've already talked about this Manchester City side struggling when they're faced with quality opposition, especially with players that run in behind and create those kind of runs and bring in a lot of quality. But I think Kyle Walker is kind of different. At left back, Alexander Zinchenko and Joao Cancelo. Zinchenko is quality. Zinchenko is absolutely quality, one of the top 5 left backs in the league. But Cancelo is from another world. So again, there is no comparison there. At centre back, William Saliba and John Stones. William Saliba is clear for me. I cannot see myself picking John Stones unless I want people to tear me apart on this live stream. So William Saliba is clear. Gabriel Magalhaes and Ruben Diaz. Diaz is clear. So you can see already out of the 5 we've gone for, they have 3, and we have 1, right? And then 1 draw. I think the goalkeepers can draw out each other. Rodri and Partey, I think those ones too draw out each other. But the problem is Rodri is a more consistent guy when it comes to playing football, right? I'm not really saying consistent, but I'm trying to say he's not injury prone. Thomas Partey is injury prone. If Arsenal had brought in someone like Edson Alvarez from Ajax, Ibrahim Sangare, look, I'm singing the name, aren't I? Ibrahim Sangare from PSV. Yeah. Those two. right? Any of those two could make us could make our midfield better because Thomas Partey is never around, and you need a midfield base. Your midfield base must be always around. So that is why I would go with Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, and Bernardo Silva and Ike Gundogan. There is a no-brainer. You don't compare them to Odegaard, Xhaka, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Fabio Vieira, do you? Erling Haaland and Gabriel Jesus, in terms of scoring goals, it's always going to be Erling Haaland. Martinelli and Jack Grealish. Martinelli all day long. Yeah, Martinelli all day long. And then at Riyad Mahrez or Saka, for me, Riyad Mahrez all day long. So when you compare those two starting 11s, without talking about the likes of Phil Foden, without talking about the likes of Kyle Palmer, without talking about Akanji, without talking about Nathan Ake, we've not talked about all these other quality players that remain unmentioned on the bench for Pep Guardiola's side. That is why it's going to be very hard for any team to beat Manchester City to the title this season. I thought Liverpool had done a very, very good transfer strategy. Where they failed, I didn't understand that. I really didn't understand where they got it wrong, because what they did was spend good money on a couple of players at once: Salah, Mane, Firmino, Keita as well, Virgil van Dijk, Matip, and Alisson. All those players came in at once. So all they had to do was keep on feeding your squad. They failed to do that. I really can't explain how. So that is the same, that is the same kind of model Arsenal have gone with. Our model is we've brought in 6-7 players at once in the previous window, and another 6-7 players at once last summer. So what we are trying to do now is bring in 1 or 2 quality players and making sure that every department has every position on the starting 11 has 2 quality competing names. We are not yet there yet. We are absolutely not there yet. Because listen, if Arsenal picked up an injury for Gabriel Jesus, this is the scenario. Gabriel Jesus has collected 4 yellow cards in his first 7 games for Arsenal. That means if he picks up a yellow card against Tottenham Hotspur, he doesn't play against Liverpool. If he picks up a yellow card against Liverpool, he doesn't play against Leeds United, which is the next game. Okay? And that month of October is going to be so crucial. We'll talk about squad depth and October and the test that comes with all those games. But think about it, lads. Think about it, guys. If Gabriel Jesus doesn't play, does Eddie Nketiah give us that quality for 5 consecutive games? Does he really? There's a huge question there. If Gabriel Martinelli is injured right now, Emil Smith-Rowe is injured right now, who do you play there? Fabio Vieira is the natural option for Mikel because of his versatility, and Marquinhos. I don't think both of them are going to give you what Martinelli gives you, on that left-hand side. The same goes with Saka. So to put us in the title conversation right now, I really appreciate that because we are on top of the table. I can see it right now. Arsenal, 7 games in, 18 points out of possible 21. Manchester City breathing down our neck, 17 points, and Tottenham Hotspur breathing down our neck as well with 17 points. I don't think Liverpool are done yet this campaign. I don't think Chelsea are done yet this campaign. Chelsea will just need to find that kind of rhythm. They bought well in the summer, by the way. So if they can find that kind of rhythm, win 5 consecutive games, 5 games in a row, they will be back. Liverpool, the same story. Get your players, clear them from injuries, train harder, focus. They will be back as well. So if it is the top 2, top 3 conversation, I'm listening. We can be there. We can be there with the best. Make sure you're giving me your opinion, by the way. Are Arsenal legit title contenders? We are having a poll running right now. Make sure you're voting. Will Arsenal win the Premier League? Yes, no, or just top 4? That is what I want you to be voting for in the poll right now. So what makes us not legit title contenders, guys? The squad depth is not there. We are definitely seeing that. This season, we have suffered an injury already. We have suffered 12 injuries. Martin Odegaard has picked up an injury. Zinchenko has picked up an injury. Many of our forwards have actually picked up injuries, and Thomas Partey. And you can see every player, especially Partey and Odegaard, every player, and Zinchenko as well, every player that picks up an injury, every player that gets out of this Arsenal side, there is a massive drop in quality. That is why I never wanted to sugarcoat it. I said it in my 6 things we learned that we missed Martin Odegaard. I said it. We missed Martin Odegaard in that game. The creativity was all right because Xhaka brought in a good ball. The corner from Saka was fine. And the mini assist from Saka also was good. But those are not goals you score on every Premier League day, right? The corner, all right. The corner is all right because the set piece coach has done well. But these other 2 pieces of genius chances are hard to come by. Okay, so we needed to see more of the through balls because we had 64% ball possession. We need to see more of the through balls. We need to see our strikers running one-on-one with David Raya. We need to see Saka running one-on-one with David Raya. We didn't see that, and the reason is the creativity dropped, courtesy Odegaard's injury. So for me, there's so many departments that this club, will miss if one player picks up an injury. Gabriel Jesus, Martin Odegaard, Thomas Partey, Alexander Zinchenko. I think Ben White is all right, and Aaron Ramsdale. By the way, we rarely talk about Ramsdale, but if Ramsdale picked up an injury, and we are playing Liverpool tomorrow, it would be a huge scare. I'm not really trying to have a go at Matt Turner. I think he's a decent guy. I think he's okay. He's all right. I just like I like his face. But footballing wise, I'm not the biggest fan. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan for him as a goalkeeper. So for me, squad depth is number 1, and then our starting 11 is the other. If you compare us to the other, how many are they? There are 18 Premier League sides, except Manchester City and Arsenal. If you compare us to the other 18, you might say Arsenal come on top, right? But do we still come on top as we compare ourselves to the other, 11, the other 18 when we lose 3 or 4 players? I don't think we do. So that is why I think the conversation is right. The humble words, we thank you guys for the humble words. Arsene Wenger, Thomas Frank, and everyone. But we are not yet there. We are not yet there. And, October is going to be one of those months that really define where Arsenal are this season. I think Manchester United is a test that is exaggerated, honestly. Man United is an over-exaggerated test. And this is the reason. When you play at the Old Trafford against Manchester United and you pin them back on their backs, right? Of course, I respect the fact that United won the game. And Thierry Henry said, football is about the 3 points. It's not about possession. It's not about how you play. It's about how you win the game. It's all right. But the way we played against Manchester United, I kind of think we answered the question many people wanted to hear. Maybe not in the way they wanted us to answer it, but we answered the question. The question was, you are playing well, you are organized, you're having a very, very good system, and you look unprecedented. Can you do that against Manchester United side, against big side? I think we did it. If the result comes out in favor of Arsenal, that game is boys to men. Because Man United, apart from the game plan from Erik ten Hag, which for me was absolutely class, I don't see how they come out and say, after beating Arsenal, we are back. They didn't play well. Arsenal were absolutely all over them. So our real tests are now coming in October. 9 games within 30 days. That means a game every 3 days. Can you believe that? Because he doesn't have time to do a combined 11s and then predicted lineups and then press conference reactions and all that. I won't have the time. It's going to be 3 days as I'm still doing my match reactions, player ratings, and the 6 things we learned. We are diving into the next game. It's going to be absolutely horrible, and that is the kind of test Arsenal have to stand. And even when we stand up to that test and win all the 9 games, which is quite hard, I don't think that makes us title contenders. That makes us legit top 4 contenders. So I think as Arsenal fans, let's enjoy the moment. We are loving it. We are absolutely loving it. But I don't want us to be carried away, right? And I'm so happy that many of the conversations, and I'm so surprised as well that many of these conversations are being instigated by Manchester United fans. They're being instigated by Tottenham fans. They're being instigated by Chelsea fans. All Arsenal title contenders. All Arsenal gonna win the title. Who told you? We want to win it. If Arsenal won the title today, I would be the happiest guy on YouTube. I would be happiest guy on TikTok. I'll be the happiest guy on the internet because it's a long time without us winning it. 2004, 2005. That's when we last won it. It's a very, very long time, right? It's not like the FA Cup that we've won recently. It's not like any other title that we've won recently. But do I think Arsenal have got the minerals to go for it? No. I just think, trying to win the Premier League title could actually put our season in jeopardy. It could actually put our season in danger because when you focus, this is the problem. When you focus on the Premier League, you give up on the Europa League. You give up on the FA Cup, you give up on the Carling Cup or the FA Cup, which is all right. I mean, the Premier League is still the bigger title. And the moment you're disappointed, your season crashes. Yeah, your season crashes. I think our realistic our realistic target is get top 4 this season, and then our overachievement should be second. Like, I'm okay with Arsenal trying to battle out with Liverpool, with Chelsea, with Tottenham to finish second. And if we win the title, it is by God's grace. I know I've looked at Mikel in the Manchester United game. I don't think he's already started to believe that he's going to win the title, but he believes he's up there with his master, Pep Guardiola, right? He believes it. I saw him throw everything at the Manchester United game. I think he got this. I think he got the subs wrong, but he tried to do everything to pick up at least a point in that game. So the mentality is all right. The attitude is up there. Are we title contenders? Let us get your reaction and let's get what you people are saying in the chat. So I want to see how you people are voting first and foremost. So let me know. How are you voting? Let me see how you're voting. Hit the like button. We are only 32 likes. Make sure you keep on hitting the like button. Massively appreciated. Right? So this is what you people are saying. Arthur says, hey, Cossy, how you doing, Arthur? Coleb says, yes, it can be in January. Should we add in more quality players? But if it doesn't happen, then it won't. We won't contend for the title. How much can we spend in January? That's one question. Yeah, I think that is another big question. How much can we spend in January? January is a very, very tricky market. No one wants to let go of their top talents, even if it's Cody Gakpo, even if it's Mikhailo Modric, even if it's Danilo, even if it's Douglas Luiz. They're not going to be easy buys. January is a very tricky market. Now, don't get me wrong. There are opportunities, and rare opportunities do happen in January. We looked at Dusan Vlahovic, one of the opportunities that actually happened in January. We could have taken that. I've seen a few around. Yeah, I've seen a few around. So there is always chance to strengthen your squad. But the question is, can you get title challenging, quality in January? That is the question. Can you get title challenging quality in January? In my opinion, no. You can't. You can't get title challenging quality in January. It's so hard. It is just so hard. It is very, very hard for you to say, we're going to sign. I don't know. I don't know, right? I've looked at a couple of players that we're linked with. Some from Switzerland at Lausanne, a midfielder, and then a midfielder from Eintracht Frankfurt. These players do not make you title contenders unless you have a 10-point gap on top of the table, and then you bring in players just as warm bodies. So for me, in January, I want us to go for players 1 or 2 but I don't think there is title winning quality in January. Okay. How are you doing, Festus? Hope you're doing well. Snow says we can if we sign in January. Emmanuel says always waiting for your video all the time. Love you, bro. Thank you so much, Emma. Bima says we need another midfielder before we think about winning the title. It's not only a midfielder for me. It's about that right back, getting in a right back. I thought we would have got Jed Spence, in my opinion, because the thing with Jed Spence and why I would fancy signing him is in him you have a natural right back, but someone who loves coming in, coming forward, creating those chances, making the runs, affecting the final third, just that kind of Cancelo vibe around him. And Spurs beating us to Jed Spence, what a signing. That was really, really a good signing. So I think there's so many issues to address. A backup centre back for Gabriel. You need someone to back up Thomas Partey. You need someone to back up Grant Xhaka well. You need a winger or one or two, and probably another striker, right? The kind of Victor Osimhen, those kind of players that can come in and nick a goal or two, and in the end they have 15 or 20 goals, and they win you some 15 or 25 points. Okay. Boy says yes, Arsenal can win the title, right? We shouldn't aim too high. Top four should be our target, says Abe. Nice one. Festa says, at the beginning of the season, I had the feelings that my darling club can win the league this season. But seeing the performance of Haaland for Manchester City, it makes me worry. That is what I just talked about. And that is where the conversation is. Quality. It's no longer about who can steal the title. Look, I think in some countries, we can talk about stealing the title. For example, in Italy, I look at Napoli, they're decent. I look at Atalanta, they're quite decent. I look at the two Milans and Juve. Okay, so anyone can win the title there. Anyone can win the title there in Italy. It's not the same thing in France and in the English Premier League. It's not the same thing. In the English Premier League, whoever spent the most amount of money, whoever is doing the biggest business, has the biggest chances of winning the title, honestly. All right. And the quality, of course. The quality. Manchester City's quality is just over the top. Nicolas says Danilo probably in January. Yeah, you can't get Danilo in January. I think the Brazilian market is kind of open during January. I'm not really sure why. I'll make more research to that and educate myself. But Danilo is available and doable in January. But again, Danilo is a 21-year-old. You bring him in, he needs some 5 months to settle in. So if anyone thinks about Arsenal winning the title, how about us doing proper business in the summer of 2023 and we go for it in 2024? While this Manchester City squad gets burnout, of course, they do refresh their squad a lot of the time, but they will suffer from burnout eventually. That is when Arsenal's youngsters who can keep on running for 38 games can dream about winning the title. Okay, Dominic Prince says if they can win the cup, I will be very, very happy. Sheena says the last time Leicester City won the league, did they perform better than what we are doing now? No, I don't think they did. But the difference then is Leicester City ran away with so many 1-0 wins. That is one. And again, Leicester City during that time, we can argue that they were not even supposed to. It was due to the weakness of Arsenal and Spurs. For me, I don't know how Spurs even finished third in that campaign. I don't know how Spurs finished below Arsenal in that campaign. I don't know how Arsenal didn't win the title in that campaign. It was because of our primitive, conservative transfer market, policy and values. If we had done better, in that season, we would have been title champions. We would have been Premier League champions, honestly. So, but let's put context. I think this is what it is. So Shina, right? Let's put context to Leicester City winning the Premier League then and Arsenal winning the Premier League now. You look at the quality I mean, you have to beat 5 clubs to the title as Arsenal: Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Manchester United. Then you have these unbeatable, mid-table clubs: Wolves, Newcastle, the likes of West Ham, and those hard nuts to crack. The quality of the Premier League has drastically improved, where you have the likes of Nottingham Forest, who have just been promoted, spending more than Arsenal. Can you believe it? You're having a Nottingham Forest side from the Championship spending hundreds of millions. That shows you the massive improvement and quality of the league. So it's not a kickabout with the boys. It's not a walk up. It's not a walk around of the pitch. It is real planning. I think this is where I think clubs must be having departments concerned with winning every title they compete in. Manchester City, for example, they must have a Champions League committee planning on how they can win the Champions League, because it's no longer easy. The quality is improved. Then Liverpool were not at their level best. Right now they are. Then when Leicester City won the title, Manchester City, they were still building. Right now the building has been finished. United are coming back. Spurs have spent on 10 players in the last summer. So if we put context on it, we cannot use the example of Leicester City right now. We can't. Okay. If Olo says just top 4, Isaac says talk about top 4, not the title. Andre says top 4 is realistic. Rotimi says the key to our season is Thomas Partey. Just highlights what I've been talking about, because where we have Partey alone, City have Lodri, who's consistent, and Calvin Phillips, who is, for me, going to be world class in the next 4 years, especially now that he's playing under Pep Guardiola. So that is the conversation. That is what makes the conversation. We have Partey, they have Lodri, and they have Calvin Phillips, right? And they just lost Fernandinho. Literally, they didn't lose anything in terms of quality. Solomon says maybe top 6. Europa, just look at the squad depth. We lack quality players. We can't compete even top 4 spot, even for the top 4 spot. Mid-table class. I don't think we are mid-table class though. I strongly don't think we are mid-table class though. And this is the reason I think we are not mid-table class. When you look at the quality we have and compare us to Chelsea, Spurs, and Man United, those clubs are not mid-table class, are they? And we fit in. If we did a combined 11 with any of those sides, you can argue that Arsenal should have 5 or 6 players in each of the combined 11s. So we are not mid-table, but because we have young players who are still developing, it will take us time to get there, to get to the levels that we want to be at. Okay. Eve says, good evening, Cossy. How are you doing, Eve? Hope you're doing well. And then Alex says, Arsenal's title hopes revolve around how long Partey and Jesus remain fit throughout the season. You can't back on 2 players. We cannot back on 2 players. Mahrez and Vardy. Long gone is the time. Yeah, it's long gone. I think the only club that does that is Madrid. If you have Benzema and Vinicius, you can win anything in the world. But apart from that, I don't see Arsenal doing that as well. Okay. Joshua says it's very possible to win the league if we have all our key players fit. And Emmanuel says, what about the story of Tielemans at Leicester? Any updates, bro? Love from Kenya. Hope you're doing well. All my fans from Kenya and all the people, the podcasters from Kenya. Now, the story of Yuri Tielemans, the last I heard about it, Newcastle are much interested than Arsenal now. Arsenal are considering the physical disabilities of Yuri Tielemans as a hindrance for us signing him. So we are not signing him because we believe he doesn't have the physical attributes Mikel Arteta wants. Smash the like button. Let's get this video up to 55 likes. Make sure you're hitting the like button. We need to have it to 300 likes But before, while we're live, let's smash that like button. Okay, so Caleb says we are not yet there because of our squad. Guma says it's true that we can win the title because winning a title needs two things. One, I says like good players, and to be lucky when you lost one of the two, you can't. You need to be lucky. It says you need to be to win the title. You need good players, and then you need to be lucky. Yeah, there is an element of luck, but I think the investment from America, the investment of from the Saudi Arabia and all these money powers reduces reduces the significance of luck in winning the Premier League title, in winning any title now, in winning any titles. It just reduces the significance of luck. Honestly, we are now more focused on how much have you spent, how much is your squad. Honestly, so I don't think luck is going to play a bigger part. Okay. Joseph says we can win the Premier League if and only if Manchester City mess up. Thank you so much. That is the point. That is the point. Now, I can't forget that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that was 20, was it 2021, 2022? No, that was 2020, 21, right? Manchester United finished second, courtesy of Liverpool, Liverpool's butter jobs. So you need a massive butter jobs from Manchester City. You need a massive butter jobs that Liverpool are having now to continue. And you also need some kind of messing around from Spurs and Chelsea. Look, with Spurs, I'm not so scared of them. If you cannot beat Spurs to the title, then you don't deserve it. If we cannot beat Chelsea to the title and Man United, then we don't deserve it. But with this, we'll have to pray that Jurgen Klopp's butter jobs, right now continues, and City mess up big time. If that happens, I'll be the first guy to say Arsenal are going to win the title. Hit the like button for me, people. Make sure you're clicking that like button if you've not yet. Subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and you'll have the conversations that we have all the time. Now, all right, let's see. A call says, hi, Cossy. I think Arsenal can work on their squad depth. They will be among the 10 contenders, but now maybe top 3. Thank you so much. Work on your squad depth, improve the quality of your starting 11, and there we will be legit top 4, legit title contenders. Okay. And then Josh says, Bravo UG, big time to my people in UG. I should be having more of you people on the chat. I don't think Arsenal will. I can only say they'll be among the top for this season at this point. Anyone can be at the top. The brutal truth, Arsenal is not yet ready. Thank you so much, Josh. Beautiful point. And I'm not trying to bend towards we are not winning the title. I'm trying to be objective as I can. So all your comments, massively appreciated. Just a simple announcement. Now, I want to have a weekly Fanz podcast. Yeah, I want to have a weekly Fanz podcast where you guys can come in and have your say, right? So, like I said, my numbers on WhatsApp are on. The WhatsApp group is available as well. If you're not on WhatsApp, I think let's meet on Twitter, Cossy Arsenal. Okay. I want to have a weekly Arsenal podcast around. I think we should be around 10. I think we should be around 10, 6 or 10. Discuss Arsenal stuff. Okay. Clement says, please, Arsenal fans, I wish to inform you that Arsenal can claim for the title. Leicester City won the trophy without quality players, so we only need the team spirit. We shall make it. The optimism, the love, the belief is what just catches me in that in that comment. And then Asaf Carbs says, in Jan, we need a defender, a midfielder, and a winger if we're going to be in top 2. But as of now, let's focus on top 4 unless otherwise. And then Dixon says, even Cossy, to me, I hope it's possible to win the Premier League because the time Leicester City won the Premier League, No one expected it. So if we are lucky, we shall win it as well. I like the element of luck being played and playing its role here. Okay, I like the element of luck, but is luck still that significant? That's the big question. Yeah, that's the big question, lads. Is luck still that significant? Are we still thinking about luck in a way of it is still very significant? I think if it's knockout stages, but even in knockouts, even in knockout competitions these days, you look at Real Madrid, you look at Man City, you look at PSG, you look at all these big clubs and how far how far deep they're going into these competitions. It shows you have to be ready. You have to plan for it. And now, look, unfortunately, I cannot find my poll. I don't know why the poll is not being suggested to me. It's absolutely hilarious. I should have the poll always big time. So let's see. I can't find the poll. I literally cannot find the poll. I want to know the percentages. I need to know the percentages. Send me your WhatsApp number. It's in the link. It's in the description. It's already in the description, pinned and ready. Okay. I can't get the poll. It has just disappeared, just like that. YouTube, what are you going on about? What are you going on about? Let me see if I can get the poll before we call it a show. And unfortunately, I can't. And I don't know why. I can't get the poll. Okay. I cannot get the poll. Anyone, I mean, just let me know, what are the percentages? What are the percentages? Yes, we can. No, we cannot. And just opt for. Someone write for me the percentages in the chat. I've got it. I got it. My producer just sent me. Yes is 56%. Interesting. We had, wow, this is amazing. 131 votes. Okay, 131 votes. Yes, we can win the title. Stands at 56. Interesting. No is 12%, and just top 4 is 32%. Right, guys, thank you so much for voting. I didn't expect these numbers. I thought, look, honestly, I thought you guys were going to say winning the title around 30%, then no, around 40%, and then just top 4 around 60%. Does that even add up to 100? I'm not sure. But honestly, win is 55%. J.K. Steven says if it's winning the cup, we can win the Europa League. Yeah, I think the Europa League is realistic. I think it's realistic and achievable. Make sure to follow me on all my socials, Cossy Arsenal on Twitter, Cossy_19 on Instagram, and of course, Cossy Talks Football on TikTok. Let's grow those pages, guys. On Facebook, it is Cossy Arsenal Podcast 90 more as well. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Have a blessed night.